Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Dave Beaver, Pastor Dave Beaver to some of you, and welcome to another live edition of Grappling with Life. If you've never watched this show, it is my aim, it is my goal to bring on people who practice jiu-jitsu, whether they're a world champion, whether they're a professor, black belt, if they are a just common practitioner that's doing it for hobby's sake, a hobbyist, it doesn't matter to me. What I love to do is share people's stories with others, because what I believe is no matter who you are, no matter how old you are, no matter who you are tonight, you're grappling with something. Every single person I know is grappling with real life. You're grappling with life. And what I have found is what we learn on the mat sometimes really helps us grapple with life off the mat. So what I like to do is find these practitioners, these professors, black belts, white belts, blue belts. It doesn't matter to me, to share their story so they can inspire and encourage others. So tonight, I am super pumped to have Professor Carlos Mendez, who is not only a professor at One Academy, he is the founder of the One Academies. He has multiple affiliates, and we're going to jump into his story tonight. So, Professor, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me, man.
Very cool. So, Professor Carlos, I love to ask everyone this question. Who is Professor Carlos Mendez? Like, where do you come from? What was life like growing up? Any brothers, sisters? What state, what city did you grow up in?
So I am actually from Venezuela. So this is a neighboring country to Brazil. I grew up there. I moved to the U.S. when I was 18. So I'm 37 now. So I've been here for almost 20 years. But yeah, man, I mean, I grew up in a, humble kind of middle class, apartment building, I live with my mom. My parents were divorced. So you're asking, I have a sister. She lived with my dad. I live with my mom. So I grew up with my mom. And then I started martial arts when I was very young. I was like in middle school when I started martial arts. So it's been part of my life for as long as I can remember.
That's awesome, man. Did you play any other sports growing up?
Yeah, so
baseball.
Yeah, baseball was huge in Venezuela. So I played baseball for several years. That was before I got into martial arts. I played baseball, at a relatively competitive, level. But then, they just kind of just fell off the wagon. It wasn't, martial arts took over, I feel like.
Yeah. Who's your favorite baseball team? Do you still root for baseball, watch baseball?
Man, for as much as I played, I followed the Indians for a long time, and then really over the last probably 5-10 years, I just kind of don't watch it anymore. Just I've been to I don't even remember the last time I went to a game, but they're still kind of my team. That's who I cheer for if I had to pick, but I don't follow it like anymore.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. So let me ask you, when you say martial arts was a part of your life from early on, was martial arts in terms of jiu-jitsu the early on state, or did you train in other kind of martial arts early on?
Yeah. So I started with, I guess it would have been like karate or taekwondo or I don't even remember what it was, but it was a traditional, like martial arts, like stand up. And I did that for a few years. And then I remember, I guess this is kind of like part of why I switched over to grappling. I remember some of my friends that were doing Japanese jiu-jitsu got in a fight against people that were doing the stand-up martial art, like right in front of where I was at. And all the grapplers won. So I was like, sold, I'm switching. So I started doing Japanese jiu-jitsu. That probably would have been in like, I don't know, like middle school, like 10th grade or something like that. And then I continued throughout high school. And then when I moved to the U.S., like right away, like wanted to continue training. And I found actually my first introduction to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu would have been Sean Chidwood back in 2003. Okay. So it was, yeah. So I did some traditional martial arts, but then I switched over to grappling. It just kind of, it sold me. When I saw that fight, I was like, oh, done, sold.
Well, all fights start standing up, but they say that something like 90+% of fights go to the ground.
Yeah.
So, onto the grappler's paradise, I suppose.
That's right.
So
yeah.
How long? So you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and listen, not everyone I have on here is a black belt, right? I've had purple belts, blue belts, some black belts, but as a black belt in jiu-jitsu, did you get your black belt under the Chitwoods?
No, so I got, so that was in 2003 when I first got introduced, to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because I lived in like north of Columbus, and Sean Chidwood had a school there in, shoot, what's the name of the Lexington,
Yeah.
Ohio. That's where the school is. And I only trained there with him for a couple of months, and then I moved to Columbus. But I remember Sean introduced me to Robin, and this is like back, like I can't even remember. It was like 2004 or 5. But I ended up going to the police academy down here. So I live down in Athens now, and Nelsonville is the next town over. And they had Hawking College had a really good police academy program, and that's what I ended up doing. So I did that from 04 to 06. I graduated that, and I moved back to Columbus. And the moment I got to Columbus, I called Robin up, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm going to be training, as a police officer. Which I do not longer do that, but at the time, I'm like 175 pounds. So I'm like, hey, I need to know how to protect myself. Which is one of the big things that that I try to like recommend to officers to do. It's like it's so important. I know in Grove City you would with Dave Freetag. I mean, there's a lot of officers that train there, so it's really important, man. I feel like that's something that means a lot to me. But anyways, I started training with Robin in 2006. So Robin Giesler has the Helson Gracie Academy in Columbus, which actually, even though we're one academy, and you were talking about me being the founder of one academy, it's something that I'm really proud of. But Athens itself, which is headquarters to One Academy, is still under the Helson umbrella. We're Helson Gracie affiliate. So so I almost have an affiliate within the affiliate. You know what I mean? So
yeah, absolutely.
One Academy is my thing, but I still represent Helson Gracie. He actually gave me my journey's been is different than a lot of people's journeys. But I started with Robin in 2006, and like a year and a half, I got my blue belt. And then life changed. So I had to, the girl that I was dating at the time, she got pregnant. So we're expecting a baby. We ended up moving, and then she was going to OU. So I moved down to OU. It was just like this whole thing where I just like, my life changed. It was like my plan, had to alter. And, I talked to Robin because I would go up to Columbus like once a week, and, I would train with those guys. And then I was like, man, what do you think about me, opening up a Helson Gracie, affiliate in Athens? Because there's nothing there. I remember going to the gym to work out, and I would put like a flyer above the water fountain.
Right.
Be like, who wants to do jujitsu?
I need someone to roll with. I get it, man.
Yeah, man. So I was trying to find somebody, and I ended up finding a Taekwondo gym. And I was like, hey, can I lease your space to teach jujitsu? And that's kind of how I started, So I started teaching as a blue belt, but because nobody knew anything, I was like, well, I'll teach you. And then that's, of course, I continued to go to Columbus and maintain my particular. This is my daughter here.
Oh, it's awesome, dude. She's good. Yeah. What's up? How are you?
Hola.
Love it, man. That's awesome.
So anyways, I don't even know. I lost my train of thought. So I started teaching as a blue belt, right? So that's kind of, I continue to go to Columbus and travel and do a lot of driving to maintain my progress. But once I became an official Helson Gracie Academy, Helson would come to Athens like 2 or 3 times a year. And he's actually who gave me my purple belt, my brown belt. And then during COVID, he was in Brazil. So Robin, who I consider my main professor, of course, is who gave me my black belt. So, a little bit different than most.
So, dude, that was a big missing link in your story. I did not know that. So let me share something with you, and anyone who will watch this, catch it live, catch it later. So this will be good news for you. So on October 22nd, at the Twisted Church Faith and Violence Tour, we are honoring 5 Midwest black belts, right? Okay. Pardon me. We're entering them into the Honor Hall of Fame, and Robin is one of them. So Robin is being entered into Robin's done a lot for jiu-jitsu in Central Ohio, the Midwest, East Coast, and I did not realize your connection to Rob until just now. So that's super cool. So
Yeah.
I can't really tell the rest of the names. There's 5 of them total. I'll leave that as a surprise. We're going to drop the news hopefully next week. I'll be dropping that news hopefully next week when I'm in Las Vegas for the ADCC. But so, dude, so you started teaching as a blue belt. You got your purple and your brown from Helson himself, which is super cool. So let's talk about One Academy, man. So I know some of the people affiliated with you. They're incredible people. I love them. Professor Joe, phenomenal dude, man. Love that guy. I just competed against a One Academy guy.
Jeremy, yeah.
Jeremy picked up the win, but that dude was like, he would not go away. I was like, go away. I was covering his mouth. I was like, go away. He would not go away, man. So
he's a stubborn dude. He was hanging there. Survival, yeah.
He's an old guy. We're in our 40s, man. We've learned how to fight through real life. So love that guy. He's got just a pure heart, doing so many good things for people.
Oh yeah.
Literally Austin Fife and just all those guys, man, at One Academy down there in Jackson. Those are guys that are under you. And man, let's talk about One Academy and some of your affiliates and stuff, because I just think they're phenomenal people, man.
So One Academy, although we're still under the Helson umbrella, specifically the Athens location, One Academy was my idea as far as it's kind of like my baby, right? Besides jiu-jitsu, I also coach Muay Thai, so I do Muay Thai, and then we have yoga instructors. So my daughter's being creeped out here. So I do several different things. I don't just grapple, and we have an MMA class. So the One Academy thing came up as okay, there's more than jiu-jitsu. So if people are looking for a martial arts academy, to train, stand up, or people that want to come do yoga. I want people to know that we're here. But there's also like a little bit of a different angle when I came up with the One Academy. Actually, I have a tattoo that says, you probably can't read it, but it says, "We are all one."
I love it.
So the idea, it's, being here in Southeast Ohio specifically, I've had to deal with some people that are not super friendly towards foreigners and towards people of color. So in my opinion, we're all connected. We're all one. So it was kind of to break the boundaries of racism, sexism, or just to kind of unite people more. So that's kind of how it was born, and then. You mentioned Joe Taylor. Joe Taylor is one of my purple belts, an amazing individual. I have another purple belt in Gallipolis that teaches. I just actually promoted on Saturday, yesterday. I promoted 3 more of the satellite owners. So all the satellites are ran by at least a purple belt, which is that was my goal.
Sure.
So it kind of started expanding with my students who had interest in teaching.
Yeah.
So the plan that we follow was to go to areas that don't have jiu-jitsu already, right? Because I just mentioned that my students are purple belts teaching, but Joe Taylor's teaching in Jackson. There's no other jiu-jitsu place in Jackson. So so all these Lancaster, there's no black belts in Lancaster teaching. There's no brown belts. So we're trying to kind of all grow together, all get better together, and I'm really happy with the way it's going, man. Actually, I have one of my super tough dude. I would love to see him compete in your event, but he's really busy with other stuff. But he's going to be moving to Mexico, so we're going to open a One Academy Mexico.
Nice,
yeah. And I'm like, man, this is like meant to be, So it's growing, man. I'm really happy with the way everything's going. So I guess that's kind of how we got started, and we continue to grow. And I know the Jackson people are killing it. You mentioned, some of the guys, Austin and Marco, Jeremy, they're really hungry, and man, I couldn't be happier for their accomplishment so far. And I hope to see them, succeed even more.
Yeah, no, they're great, dude. You're right. But here's the thing, and I can already tell, man, you're a humble dude. But they're under your leadership, man. So they're under Joe. Joe's under you, and the fruit does not fall far from the tree, right? Those guys are putting in the time. They're putting in the work. I've rolled with Austin. I'm 195 pounds, and I'm like, Oh, I better play a heavy top game, man, because if that dude gets on your legs or inverts, he's scrappy, man. So, dude, I love Austin.
Yeah.
I met Austin. Let's see. So I filed the paperwork for Twisted Church in May of last year. Had our first gathering in June. So we're coming up on 1 year in terms of our events. Last October, we did the Baddest Blue Belt tournament, and it brought people in from 7 different states, and Austin was one of them. That's where I met Austin at. And
I remember.
dude, he came out, man. He was game, dude. He was he was the smallest guy in the tournament, right? But that dude was scrappy as all get out. And I was like, Austin, be on every show I have. I don't care. Like if you want on, you got a spot. He just won his last fight. He was on our card. I think the last 2. So I'm like, man, Austin's a dog. I like that kid, man. And
I call him the honey badger.
The honey badger, dude. Yeah.
He just keeps going. He doesn't care.
So yeah.
No, but I'm glad that you said, the people from One Academy, like and your relationship to them and how you feel about them, because one of the big things that I think I even messaged you about this before, one of your posts on Facebook, is like, I want good people training.
Yeah.
I do not care if you're super good and super talented. If you're not a good person, you can't train it with me. It's just not. I don't feel. I think I can't remember what your post was, but it was something amongst the lines of like, something that I personally encountered before. Somebody with maybe like a criminal background or domestic violence or something like that. I'm not going to teach you jujitsu, man. I'm not going to make you more dangerous. You know what I mean? A potentially more dangerous individual when I already know that you don't have, good morals. You're not necessarily a good person, So that's a big thing to me, man.
Yeah, we talk about. I mean, I think that might have been. I talk about the quality of your circle versus the quantity of your circle. Like, man, if you're not a good person, dude, like in terms of doing right, like I'm not going to bring you in the inner circle of my life. I'd rather have a few quality people than a quantity of people. You know what I mean? I've said that a long time too. I know a lot of people that are black belts. They're just not good people. Like the jiu-jitsu community is not that big in the nation, in the world. And I've met some that I'm like, that's a bad person, right? They're not a good person.
Yep.
And they can utilize their black belt to do more harm, to be a bully or to manipulate people. So I'm always grateful. The only jiu-jitsu I know is under like Dave Freitag, right? So that's all I know, man. Dave is a character guy. He's a quality guy. He's a longtime officer. And I just kind of watch how Dave runs his academy. And Dave lets people be who they are, but Dave has a high standard, right? I can already tell based on the people associated with you have a high standard, right? Of quality over quantity.
Right.
Which is awesome, man. I respect that. And thank you for doing that,
Yeah, no, you mentioned Dave. Dave's amazing. I mean, Dave's been like if I message him about anything, even though I've only met Dave a few times, but anytime I message him with any questions or asking him about anything, he's like, here's all the help. He's amazing. I love Dave.
Yeah, for sure, man. So, dude, let's talk about this for a minute. So, you're leading people. You're a professor. You're training. You're raising a family. I understand that life myself. But at the same time, there's this desire to compete. Like, I want to get out there. I want to mix it up, man. I want to be on the mat. I tell people all the time, like, leading Twisted Church is awesome. I love matchmaking. I love, doing all the details and getting all the stuff together. But at the end of the day, man, like, I'm like, I just want to compete, man. I want some other dude to line up and give it to me for 5 minutes and let's sort it out. So you have that opportunity coming up, and I'm super pumped. October 22nd, as one of the black belts on the card, ADCC rule set. Half of the match is sub only. The back half of the match is points. Traditional points are allowed. ADCC rule set. So just let's talk a little bit about that, man. I think it's you and dude. I'm dealing with like 60 athletes. Give me a second. I think it's you and Jimmy.
I feel like a dick for not knowing, but
I can't remember either. Oh man,
I really, I was just, somebody was talking to me the other day, and he's like, "Oh, you're like watching footage and stuff." I was like, "Man, I didn't do any of that. I want to go and do my jujitsu. I don't care what other people are going to do. Not to mention that if you go and, I mean, this is something that maybe like for people watching and yourself, man, I've made that mistake before. You go on YouTube, you're like, blah, 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 jujitsu. None of those people put their losses on there. They put all their highlights. So it's always like, hey, winning, submission. I don't do it anymore, man. I just kind of, I go and do my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I apologize to my opponent. I did watch part of the interview he did. He seems like a really nice guy. Training with some tough people. So I'm excited for the challenge, and I'll go in there and put on a show, man. I've been doing this for a long time, so nothing new.
Dude, that's exactly right. Like I'll tell you, Matt Brown, who's UFC fighter, surefire Hall of Famer. He told me I was getting ready for my first MMA fight. We were in an Applebee's, and he said, "Hey, it doesn't matter what your opponent's doing. Who cares? You can only control what you do, right?" So you just said that, like, you can only control your jiu-jitsu, how you prepare, how you plan, how you play the game. You're going to come out there. They're going to do what they do. You're going to do what you do. And, at the end of regulation, someone's going to win, right? Yeah. Via submission or via points, whatever. What's kind of cool is, so we are running this event just like in East Coast, West Coast trials. There's 6-minute matches unless you're a black belt. So I was like, no, bro. All of our black belts are going to get 10-minute matches. All of our tournament competitors are going to get 10-minute matches, right? Those tournament guys are fighting for $10,000. I'm like, no, bro, they're getting 10-minute matches, right? So you're going to have to earn their money. But all the black belts and our kind of our co-main event and our tournament participants are all getting 10-minute matches. So as you train, man, how long has it been since you've competed on a card like this? And
man, I did fight to win a couple times.
Right.
The last one was a brown belt.
Okay.
So it's probably been 4 years since I did a super fight type competition. I've been doing some IBJJF tournaments. I know COVID. When COVID was hit, then it took a year or two off my competition. But I've always stayed active in competition since blue belt. I think I've been doing 6 competitions a year, trying to stay busy with it. Black belt's been relatively slow because, well, I guess for several reasons, but we have you saw my daughter, COVID. I mean, there's the One Academy thing was born, so I've been busy with other things. So I haven't been as active as I was at the lower belts. But I'm not done, so I'm still, I'm going to continue to compete, and I'm really excited that events like yours are happening, where I feel like it's more entertaining, and it's more of the jiu-jitsu that I like, which is you go and try to submit the other person.
Yeah,
when I've done a couple of the IBJJS where I've left, man, this guy was just holding my gi the whole time.
Sure,
and it's just that's just whack.
For sure.
How you want to win,
dude. I totally agree. And again, I'm not talking bad about anything in the jiu-jitsu community. I'm going to support them, right? Grappling Industries, Fuji, the IBJJF, anybody. I still pay my money. I go sign up. I go compete. But so I support all the good in jiu-jitsu, but I wanted to bring something also and add to the good, right? Mm-hmm. And what I realized is that in the East Coast, the Midwest, there's nobody doing, we all sit around and wait for Fight to Win to come in. And I love Seth, don't get me wrong, and I'm going to talk about it in a minute. But we all wait for the opportunity to go to Las Vegas, to California, to Texas, and be on these shows. And I'm like, dude, there's so much talent in the Midwest, East Coast, and there's not enough opportunities, right? So my whole goal with Twisted Church is to say, hey, we're gonna be the biggest hub in the Midwest and East Coast for super fights. I'll put up big money. We'll put on big shows and showcase the local talent from the Midwest to the East Coast, right? And here's what I've learned too. It's crazy. So guys like Elder Cruz, guys like Giancarlo Bodoni, guys like Haisam Rita, they've all said it's nice to come and do something different. When we get limited to who's number one or a Fight to Win card or one of the big shows, that's IBJJF related, PANS or Worlds, it was really nice to come and do something brand new. There's a a new opportunity, right, for
Mhm.
competitors. And again, like I said, not talking bad about anyone else. I just wanted to add to the good opportunities for jiu-jitsu. It's not to make money. Like, this is my passion. Like, I tell people Jesus and jiu-jitsu saved my life. And what I want to do is do these cards. Like, it's like, I don't care the money. Like, I have fun doing it, right? So guys like you and guys like Joe and, who's on the card also. You're on the card. Joe's on the card. It's going to be fun, man. Like, we're going to come out. We're going to do jiu-jitsu. And this is the other thing. Nobody in the Midwest, East Coast is doing ADCC rule set, right?
Mhm.
Like the ADCC is next weekend, right, in Vegas. And that's another thing. I have over 400 fighter applications that want to be on the show October 22nd.
Oh, wow. That's,
Like,
that's
bro,
crazy. That's amazing. Congratulations.
yeah, I'm like, oh my God, it's been overwhelming, right? To take 400 applications for like 60 athletes, right? So, but because it's ADCC rule set, people are like, dude, I'm down. I love that.
Yeah.
First half submissions, second half there's traditional points, kind of a deal. So, yeah, man, it's gonna be super fun, dude. Hey, let me ask you this about Fight to Win. I'm gonna be a little selfish here, right? Tell me about Fight to Win. I'm doing my first Fight to Win. It's been my dream bucket list. I'm doing it October 1st in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm fighting a guy that I have a lot of respect for. He beat me in the gi, 28 seconds to go. He beat me by a sweep. What was that like for you? Talk to me about your experiences with Fight to Win.
I had a good time, man. I mean, Seth is a little, different than most people. He doesn't really he's not super friendly or anything like that, or very talkative. But I mean, he put me on there. I did one in Cleveland. I did one in Columbus. I had a lot of my students going. So it was a really good time. It was a good. It was good to be on that stage. For some reason, I felt more natural there than I do even like at a competition when it's a bracket and you wait in the bullpen and you go. So I felt good. I felt like it was and that was that was like one of the first like Fight to Wins. It was the first one in Ohio. So it was still early on, the Fight to Win events. Now I feel like I have a higher level, of athletes. But I remember when it started, and I was like, I talked to my wife. I was like, wouldn't it be crazy if I get on like a professional like jiu-jitsu card with like Fight to Win? And then like a couple months later, they did like the Ohio one, and I think Dustin Ware up in Columbus was one of the contacts for Seth. And Dustin messaged me, and he's like, "Hey, you want to be on here?" I was like, "Yes, yeah, I want to be on there." So after that, I just kind of Seth messages me whenever there's one, the one in Cleveland I can't make, the one that's coming up that you're gonna do. But he usually messages, a group of people that the original ones, about participating. But yeah, it was a good time, man. It was awesome to me. It's one of the things that because I refed a couple Fight to Wins too.
Yeah.
It's like like the platform. I'm like, man, people are gonna fall from here. There's no way people are gonna fall.
Yeah, right.
So but it's all good.
So I will tell you, I originally for October 22nd was going to elevate the platform, right, for the people that are going to be there to see. And dude, I was like, you know what? I'm not doing it. Liability reasons, man. We're keeping it on the floor.
I think
it was like I started watching some of those, man. So our first pro event that we had, Bedoni and Elder Cruz in the finals, dude, we put them on a 40 by 40 mat, and they still went out of bounds. And I was like, bro, no matter how big that stage is, dudes are going to work the edges, right? Yeah. The perimeter. So I was like, nah, I'm not letting people fall to the ground. So
I think it was a good call, to be honest, man.
Yeah.
Like that's one of the things, especially when I refed it. When I did it,
yeah,
it wasn't. I didn't feel it, but when I refed it, it was like everybody wanted to go to the edges, and some of these guys are like 230 pounds. I'm like, who's going to stop him? The 150-pound referee going to stop him?
Like, work the circle, work in. Yeah, right. But like a shot, a reshot, or blast double, dude. So I've refereed professional MMA, and dude, I ain't gonna lie, man. I hate reffing the heavyweights because they're I'm like, bro, this is like a lot of meat here, man, and I'm trying to
Mhm.
stop you or get you off your opponent, and yeah, I can't even imagine like doing that with a potential fall to the ground, right? I'd be like, y'all gonna fall, man. I ain't getting killed by y'all. So
Yeah, man.
that's cool, dude. So let me ask you this: what are some other things that you're passionate about, man? So obviously you are a black belt in jiu-jitsu, you're a competitor, you're leading a movement of one academies. What are some? And you have a wife, you have children. What are some other things you're passionate about outside of martial arts?
So, well, Muay Thai is one of the things that
Okay.
Jiu-Jitsu is like my main love, but Muay Thai is right up there too. I do Muay Thai. I started Muay Thai when I started Jiu-Jitsu in '06. In a very casual, way. So, Jiu-Jitsu always was like the everyday training. While Muay Thai was like once a week, or sometimes less than that. But once the One Academy idea was born, I started a Muay Thai program here in Athens, and that's been 2-3 years now, and it's grown tremendously, man. It's like personally, I'm enjoying it a ton. Being more proficient at jujitsu, being a black belt in jujitsu, and have been doing this for so long. Muay Thai, you know how it is when you start jujitsu. It's like the learn, you start picking up things, quicker, and you feel that initial progress. So it's more exciting almost, So
Yeah.
I just trained with not trained, but I did a seminar with Sanchai, who's like the goat of Muay Thai in Pittsburgh. So I was really excited about that. Um, but yeah, Muay Thai is one of my passions. That's something that I focus on a lot. As far as the One Academy team, I have my aspirations to start bringing some MMA guys,
Mm.
to represent One Academy. So I don't just want to have grapplers. I don't want to just have Muay Thai, fighters. I want to have, like well-rounded martial artists. I feel like there's no reason to limit yourself, to
Yeah.
just, pot on the ground or just stand up, So it's just like learning everything. So my aspiration is to start bringing some people up to test themselves in an MMA setting.
Beautiful.
Uh, because at the end of the day, that's what happens there is what works. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of specialization in jujitsu that doesn't quite transfer to a real fight or an MMA fight.
Sure.
Same thing with Muay Thai and some of the striking martial arts, where some of the things just don't transfer that well. So you have to, what I love is the techniques from either martial art that work in a fight.
Yeah.
So that's my jujitsu and that's my Muay Thai idea. I also do trading. I'm 37, so I've been yeah, I think this is right before COVID. I was like, man, how can I learn something extra to make some extra money? So I've been trading for 4 years now, 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So I do that every day. So that's another passion of mine.
It's great.
So yeah, family, martial arts, and trading stocks.
Yeah, I love it, man. That's awesome, dude. And hey, when you get some guys young in your stable ready for MMA, hit me up, dude. So I do all the pay-per-view for Ohio Combat League. So amateur and pro fighting will be at the casino. I think it's October 8th. Yeah, October 8th. So when you're ready, man, you have some guys ready to test themselves. Nicole is a phenomenal matchmaker. OCL is amazing. They continue to run fights out there in Newark all through COVID. So when you guys are ready, let us know, man. That'll be
For sure. I went to one not too long ago. One of my original students, Nikolai Gianti.
Oh,
Uh,
Nikolai.
yeah, he's an
Yeah,
awesome,
bro.
awesome kid, man. I really, it's really cool to see. Being in a university town. Nikolai was going to OU when he started in my academy. I was probably like, I don't know, purple belt, maybe even blue belt. I don't even remember. He started back in 2013, 2014, and it's really cool to see where he's at now. I'm super happy to see that. Another one that was one of my original students was Brad Schneider, who's like
Yeah.
killing it now. He's
Yeah,
like so good.
yeah, bro. Hey, Brad's a good dude. I don't know if you can see that or not, but Joe Taylor just popped in and said, "What's up, Coach?"
There
Drop
he is. What's
some
up,
fire
Joe?
emoji. Dude, I love Brad. Brad does a great job refing. I've ref alongside Brad, and like we were just down in Tampa at the Zapatero, and it was funny because Brad lost, fine, to Giancarlo, but then like me and Giancarlo, all those dudes all hung out. Dude, it was like Marco says, Carlos, he's giving the wave, man.
What's up, Marco?
Marco burnt. Let's see. I can't ever pronounce his name, but I'm not even gonna try.
I have no idea.
I know it's like burn check, burn itch, something like that. Burn it. That's what it is. It's burn
itch. Missing in there somewhere.
So anyhow, dude, it's like 1:30 in the morning, bro, and it's like me, Giancarlo Bodoni, one of the black belts from my gym, who's my primary coach in terms of competition, Brett Boggs, my partner at Twisted Church, Robbie Carter, and who else? Oh, Josiah Harrell, and it was Brad. Dude, we're in like a Smoky Bones at like 1:30 in the morning, eating like heavy food, right? Bad decision. The airplane the next day was horrible. But Brad's a good dude, man. I love that guy.
Brad is awesome. I really, he trained with us back in like 2012.
Yeah.
And man, he was one that I was like, I had no idea where he was going to be now. If you would ask me back then, I'd been like, I don't know. But he's amazing, man. He's super tough. He comes down to Athens every once in a while to see us.
Nice.
But yeah, he's just like, every time I train with him, he's like better. And I was like, geez, man, it's like, no, there's no ceiling for this guy. But going back to what we said earlier, man, Brad is such a nice guy. He's he's like amazing. So yeah, I'm really happy. Nikolai's success, Brad's success. I know they're no longer my students, but I really, they have a place in my heart because I'll always be their fan.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. That's awesome. You a lot of good stuff coming up, man. I mean, before we know it, we're going to be at October 22nd, dude. We're going to be Twisted Church. I've been running this across the ticker for anybody there, eventbrite.com. Search Twisted Church. Grab your tickets. They are moving really well. I'm super pumped to be this far out from the event and see how many people are coming, right? Mm-hmm. And every day, man, I probably have, 50 people say, hey, I can't wait to the event. And I'm like, okay, cool, buy your tickets, get them early. But one of the things I love about it, man, is the event is to elevate the athlete, to showcase the athlete, and to promote the art of jiu-jitsu. One of the things I want to do with this Grappling with Life podcast, video cast, right now it's only video cast. What I've decided to do, I want to do like 40 shows, and then I have an engineer that's going to pull all of the audio and turn it into a podcast. So then somebody can when I listen to a podcast, dude, I just put it on. I'll listen to it for days on end, right?
Right.
But my goal with this is that people can be inspired by stories like yours, right? That people can hear about real life, and then they can say, hey, what's this jiu-jitsu, right? Because I personally believe that jiu-jitsu is for everybody. Competition jiu-jitsu is not for everybody, right? You got to tick a little different. You want to feel that anxiety. Dude, I love the anxiety. Dude, I will be the most unconfident human being in my head for hours and hours and hours. I'm nervous. I have anxiety. But once I get on that mat, dude, and I smack your hand and fist bump you, and I lock up or I touch you, I'm like, oh, we're just doing jiu-jitsu. It's cool, right? I want people, though, whether they're a competition or they're just a hobbyist, they want to lose weight, they want to learn self-discipline. I just know that any person that gets on the mat of whatever age, jiu-jitsu can really make a huge impact in their life. You know what I mean? That's kind of our goal in all this. So let me ask you this. We're coming up in about 40 minutes, Professor. Mm-hmm. And if professor is not your thing, then I like to call myself professor. If you're coaching and teaching, I have a great deal of respect for men and women that wear that black belt. Not all of them. Some of them are total losers. But a guy like you are worthy of the term professor, in my opinion.
I appreciate that.
And I can't wait to come down and train with you. I know that didn't work out.
I know.
I can't wait to get down there so you can beat me up. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, come down anytime, man. We're there. I teach, Monday through Saturday. So any day, you want to come down.
We're going to get down there, bro. We're going to get down on a Thursday night. I cannot wait. If you could say, though, to anybody listening tonight, whether they catch it live, catch it later, like I said, it's the internet. This is going to be around 6 years from now. People might see this. What would you just say to people tonight that are going through life, grappling with life, working through life? What is something that you've learned on the mat and off the mat that you could just offer to people as a word of advice?
Man, I am so like martial arts and jujitsu specifically is such a big part of my life that, saying that, like one thing is like really difficult because I see jujitsu in everything.
Yeah.
I just mentioned that I do trading, and the reason why I'm successful with that is because I follow what I did with jujitsu, was just being consistent. It's not, it's that's all it is. You have to be consistent, you have to be disciplined and just show up. So, but jujitsu has helped me so much with that specific thing, being consistent at things and being disciplined, following through with what I'm starting. I don't quit. If I do something and I see value in it, I do not stop. That's how I've been with martial arts and anything that I try to pursue. So that's been a huge like benefit for me personally. Another thing that it helps a lot, of course, you do jiu-jitsu as well. So, a lot of people that do jiu-jitsu, but it's a stress reliever, like people having a bad day or when you're on the mat, you just kind of forget about all that stuff because now you got somebody in front of you that's trying to choke you. So,
Right.
And another one that is really important to me is patience. I feel like people lack patience. And if you don't have patience in jiu-jitsu, you're not going to last because it takes like 10, 15 years to get a black belt. For most people, you got the studs that get it in like, half of that time. But for most people who are, casually coming in to get in better shape, learn some self-defense, compete every once in a while, it's 10, 15-year process. So if you don't have patience, you're not making it. There's no way.
Yep.
So there's too many things to I guess to name. But if anybody's interested in training, man, it's really just walking the door, because I feel like that's the most difficult thing for a lot of people. I have students that talk to me about being anxious and having anxiety in the car outside the academy because they were like, so it can be intimidating. But if you find the right academy, it's you basically like get to know a new family, like I'm from, I told you I'm from Venezuela, my mom is, here, recovering from her surgery and stuff. But when I first came here, she was back home and 99% of my family was back home. So jiu-jitsu to me was my second family, so it changed my life. I don't know where I would be without it.
Yeah. No, dude, that's awesome. And you're exactly right. All of those things that you just mentioned are applicable to real life. At 44 years old, everything you just said that's applicable to real life, raising children, being married, having a profession, having a career, doesn't matter what your job is. All of those things are necessary to find success, right? The balance of it. And you're right, dude. I tell people all the time, like, so my job that I work in, I deal with people in a negative manner, I'd say that. So if I'm called to my job on duty, I'm wearing a duty belt with a bunch of tools, some of them lethal. I got to deal with people at their worst behavior, right? Some days when I'm done with that job after 8 hours, I love going to the academy because I'm like, I'm going to choke the mess out of everybody, right? It's like I get to go here and fight real people for real life, But other times, dude, I go in there and I just, like you said, you forget about everything. 5 minutes at a time, you are just focused on the details of grabbing the lapel, what your grips are, what your feet are doing, and you're just doing. You check out.
It's like meditation.
It's meditation. It's like this movement of rest. So, dude, that's awesome, dude. Listen, I am so pumped. First of all, to meet you.
Appreciate it.
I can't wait to roll with you. That's going to be fun. And dude, I'm so grateful that guys like you are on the Twisted Church card. Seriously. Like, I'm pumped about every single fight. I can't wait to announce. I have a lot of fun. Like I said, I do pay-per-view. I do post-fight interviews. I like when you put that mic in my hand, man, that's entertainment. Dude, I like to make a big deal out of the announcement of the fighters and their academies. I just can't wait to watch y'all compete. But more importantly, man, every single competitor that's coming out October 22nd, I have so much respect for as a martial artist, as a man, as a woman. And I'm pumped that we all get to be under the same roof that night. And just, I don't know, man, like enjoy jiu-jitsu, but also introduce so many other people to jujitsu in a powerful way, you know, and hopefully it'll inspire somebody to train, start training, keep training. And it's guys like you, man. It's guys like you that keep making me like, dude, this jujitsu community is phenomenal, right? Just dudes like you that just keep giving it away, serving others, blessing others, high character. And so just thank you for all that you've done for those around you, your One Academy, you know, your community and beyond.
No, I appreciate it, man. It was really good, talking to you, and I'm really happy that you're doing what you're doing, because one of the things you mentioned earlier is the lack of options in the Midwest and the East Coast, and how people want to go to LA and train with Texas with the B team, or I feel like there's a lot of talent in the Midwest, and there's not a lot of eyes on it because we needed more events like yours. Yeah. So I'm really happy and grateful that you're doing what you're doing, and I look forward to going in there and putting on a show and having a good time.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome, man. I cannot wait. And thank you for the support in that as well. This is just the beginning. Like I said, I'm a very tactical, strategic person, dude. I'm working on stuff 18 months out, man. So I really think the best is yet to come. And thank you for dude, just thank you for being you, and we'll look forward to talking soon. Hey, give your family my love. Tell your mom I'm praying for her. I hope her recovery goes well, and it'll be good, man. So
thank you so much, man. Thank you for having me, and same with your daughter. Hope she's she'll recover soon, and I'll text you, and hopefully we can schedule another time for you to come down and get some good training. Yeah,
absolutely, bro. I can't wait. So hey, thank you so much, and we'll talk to you here real soon, bro. All right.
See you, man. Have a good one.
You bet.